Welcome to Category Visionaries, the show dedicated to exploring exciting visions for the future from the founders who are on the front lines building it. In each episode, we'll speak with a visionary founder who's building a new category or reimagining an existing one. We'll learn about the problem they solve, how their technology works, and unpack their vision for the future. I'm your host, Brett Stapper, CEO of Frontlines Media. Now let's dive right into today's episode. Hey everyone, and welcome back to Category Visionaries. Today we're speaking with Tuck, CEO and co-founder of EarnBetter, an AI-powered job search platform that's raised $4.5 million in funding. Tuck, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Brett.
No problem. Super excited for the interview here, and let's jump right in. Talk to us about what you're building.
Yeah, so we're essentially building a free AI job search assistant that helps people reformat and rewrite their resumes, draft cover letters, prepare for interviews, track their job search, and find job matches. We find that the job searching process is a job in and of itself. And a lot of people are thinking about how can we use AI to help employers be more efficient in various ways. And we're looking to kind of harness AI to help the job seekers because, again, that job is really challenging, thankless, and it's a job you don't get paid to do. So that's what we're building.
Take us back to early 2022, founding of the company. What was it about this problem, the job search problem, that made you say, yep, that's it. I'm going to go spend the next 3, 5, 10 years of my life building?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the journey started before that, thinking about this problem space and getting excited about it. I think anytime you're starting a company, it's about falling in love with kind of the problem space. And, previously I was at a company called Credit Karma in the financial technology space. And while I was there, consistently saw people struggling with their finances, and they kind of knew they might be delinquent on their credit or were having challenges. But when you kind of got down to the root cause of it, a lot of times just people struggle to advance their careers and make more money. And so, as I interviewed and chatted with people, just got really curious about who is supporting them in their job search and their career. And what I found was 9 times out of 10, when you ask someone, who's helping you think they're your career and your job search, you heard people just saying, well, it's just me. I'm just trying to navigate this on my own. And so, really starting from that, got excited about providing a completely free service that helps people in their job search and in their career more generally. And so really kind of just fell in love with that problem space and, decided to leave Credit Karma in 2022 to found EarnBetter.
Now, I see you spent 7 years at Credit Karma. I'm sure you learned a ton there, but if we had to boil it down to, 1 or 2, maybe 3 takeaways, what would be those top takeaways that you learned?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, it's just start with the user. I think, obviously in business, so much can come up that might distract you from solving their problems. But at the end of the day, we are just very user focused in what we're building, as is Credit Karma. And so we're focused on developing a product that's totally free or 100% free, simple, easy to use, and solving their problems. And so I think being very kind of consumer centric and being focused on getting feedback that informs the roadmap has been really instrumental to how we build EarnBetter, but also I think that's some of the lessons I learned at Credit Karma. I think the next is always looking for kind of win-wins. And so we're able to provide a free service because employers pay us when people find and apply through jobs on our site. And so that's similar to kind of Credit Karma's model where they're giving away services for free. So think, free credit scores, et cetera. We're essentially giving away kind of free career services, rewriting your resume, helping with interview preparation and more. And so ultimately we're helping consumers, with their career services. We're helping employers find kind of qualified candidates. And at the end of the day, when you have both of those constituents winning, it's, a great match. And that was something we found to be true at Credit Karma that we're looking to replicate at EarnBetter as well.
How have you seen the idea evolve since the founding of the company? Has it stayed the exact same or has it gone through a series of evolutions?
Yeah, I think when we were early on, a lot of what we're trying to do is just validate our ability to support job seekers. So as I think about how we got going, we just started supporting job seekers manually, like a lot of, early founding teams. We didn't write a line of code for about 6 months. We just worked with job seekers and, recruited them and manually rewrote resumes and supported them in interview training and texted them about job opportunities that we found and just really tried to manually figure out what would be most effective in helping them run a job search to meet their goals. And so it's really been a fairly consistent idea over time. I think generative AI, it's certainly kind of accelerated our ability to kind of automate a lot of steps of the process. But at the end of the day, we always wanted to provide a free service to job seekers because, most job seekers want more support, not another bill. And we wanted to kind of innovate on the business model to provide it. But it's really kind of, we've been true to kind of that North Star, providing a free service that really helps.
And then what's the business model like? Because I have to imagine that average candidate isn't looking for jobs all of the time. Is there a monthly service fee or like monthly pricing? Is it one time? What does the actual business model and pricing look like?
Yeah, so again, it's completely free to the job seeker. I think, it's oftentimes with tools like this, job seekers are asked to be charged exactly a monthly fee or a one-time fee. These are 100% free. You will not find a paywall in our product. You'll not find the ability to collect payment within our product. We make money when people find and apply through jobs on our site. So, employers and recruitment marketing agencies and others will essentially pay EarnBetter to help drive them qualified candidates for their roles. So in some ways, it's kind of a marketplace model.
This show is brought to you by Frontlines Media, a podcast production studio that helps B2B founders launch, manage, and grow their own podcast. Now, if you're a founder, you may be thinking, I don't have time to host a podcast. I've got a company to build. Well, that's exactly what we built our service to do. You show up and host, and we handle literally everything else. To set up a call to discuss launching your own podcast, visit frontlines.io/podcast. Now, back to today's episode. Got it. What's the acquisition approach look like for those types of organizations?
Yeah. So, right now, very partnership driven. So what's kind of unique about our model is because we're helping users, again, with interview preparation, with rewriting resumes, with tracking their jobs, we learn a lot about them. A lot of job boards are just kind of driven by someone putting in a keyword, a geography, and that's it. But because we have this really rich profile information, we can kind of make a really high quality match between the job seeker and the end employer. And so a lot of it is just kind of founder driven partnership outreach to aggregators, employers, recruitment marketing agencies, and just kind of explaining who we are, what we're about, and how we can kind of drive quality candidates to them, help them meet their goals.
Talk to us about the marketing strategy for reaching the actual job seekers. What does the marketing playbook look like?
So it's very, very product led. Consumer marketing is obviously very cutthroat, and we want to be product led in a sense of we want our product to speak for itself. We want to create a really high quality product and let people kind of find it, discover it, and share it. And so we see almost a third of our acquisition just coming through referrals. And so that's a huge, huge component to help us kind of keep acquisition costs down and just improve kind of the awareness of the product in the market overall. And then other channels that we find to work well tend to be more kind of social channels in which, again, people have great experience with the product and then they share those experiences and, people can kind of see how the product is used, see how easy it is. So those are the channels that have tended to perform pretty well for us in our early days.
What do you do to incentivize those referrals? I think anyone listening think to themselves, yeah, it sounds great. I want to have that growth channel unlocked as well. Can you talk us through how you've executed on that?
Yeah, look, I think it comes back a little bit to what I said at the outset around some of the lessons from Credit Karma. Like, we want to create a great product. And so, again, as I think about our team and how we're invested, it's about building a product that people love. And the more they love it, the more they share it. And, I'd love to say that we found some unique growth hack that could help anybody out there. But, it's hard work building a product that people love. And every day we try to get a little bit better, as a team, as individuals, as a product. And that's ultimately what drives the referability of it is kind of the quality of the product itself versus any kind of like growth hack that sits on top of it. It's a totally free product. There's no sense of give a month type of thing that you might see in subscription-based products. So again, we kind of stand on the product itself to drive a lot of the growth from that standpoint.
Yeah, I have a lot of founders come on and say it's all about the product, but for you, it's really all about the product. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and the business model too, right? So I think there are a lot of job boards out there, in the tens of thousands of job boards out there. And there are lots of career services providers that, technology enabled to kind of more manual traditional career services that are for pay. And again, what's unique about EarnBetter is we're combining those two, right? We're essentially combining jobs and these services. And what's unique about that is then it enables us to keep kind of everything in one workflow. You're not going to some site to work on a resume or do interview prep, another site to track your jobs, and then another site to find and apply to those jobs. You can do all of that in one site. I think with generative AI, the more you can kind of stitch together workflows holistically and kind of have a number of different capabilities, the more helpful it is. But the other piece is kind of the business model. By doing that, we're able to offer these services for free, which is really unique in the industry. And so that's, again, I think a lot of why people like it and share it is they get a really high quality level of support that they don't get generally with traditional job boards, and it's completely free. So that's, I think, a lot of what drives people sharing it with others.
Now, it looks like you're very much leading with AI. You have AI resume, cover letters, AI job search, AI interview support. Was AI always a key part of the messaging that you're pushing to job seekers, or did that come kind of after it entered into the mainstream, 6 months after you guys launched?
Yeah, well, like I said, I think it's relative to when we founded the company 2 years ago, it's certainly accelerated our ability to automate what we're doing. And so, I think it's been an accelerant more so than kind of a fundamental change. We've always been, again, very job seeker focused. So, what are the tasks that a job seeker does? And let's utilize technology and AI to automate those. So, if anything, we very much focus on not necessarily kind of technology or finance workers on either coast. We focus on most Americans, our median income around 70K or so, and will help people throughout their job search. And so most people care a lot less about AI than they care about finding a job. And so we think a lot about how we, again, stitch together various models in kind of a holistic kind of workflow to help them solve their problems as a job seeker. So in many ways, we don't want AI to come up a lot when we're working with users. We want to kind of abstract that away from them. So it's a really simple, easy workflow. And we kind of keep a lot of that complexity under the hood of the product.
This show is brought to you by the Global Talent Co., a marketing leader's best friend in these times of budget cuts and efficient growth. We help marketing leaders find, hire, vet, and manage amazing marketing talent for 50 to 70% less than their US and European counterparts. To book a free consultation, visit globaltalent.co.
What about building out the marketing team? How big is the marketing team today? And what have you learned from building out a marketing team?
So yeah, our marketing team's relatively small today. It's two individuals, myself included. So we are very product led and kind of like grassroots in what we do. We've got a number of contractors that'll help us out in specific channels. But again, we try to start with our product as a foundation and then find channels that kind of rewards social proof, sharing, and things like that, which is what has worked so far. But again, for every dollar we spend, we're putting as much as we can into kind of developing a high quality product. And then really just be pretty scrappy and selective in the channels we choose in order to get the word out about it.
For the partnership side, how do you think about the category? What category is this for the B2B partnership side? And then I'll ask the same question there on the consumer side about how you're thinking about category.
Yeah, as I alluded to, the category, you kind of have like job boards as a category, and then you have career services at a category. So in some ways, we're kind of an evolution that combines those two. We combine having an index of 5 million plus jobs on our site that we've aggregated across a number of different kind of sites and partnerships and nonprofits and others. But we also have all these AI career service type capabilities. And so I look at EarnBetter as kind of an evolution of those two categories or a marriage of those two categories that again enables us to provide kind of a unique business model, unique service, right? It's all in one workflow. It's all completely free in terms of kind of what we provide to users.
What about fundraising? So as I mentioned there in the intro, you've raised 4.5 million to date. What have you learned about fundraising throughout this journey?
Yeah, early in our journey, received advice from someone else who'd fundraised maybe a year or two before us. And it kind of still resonates today. There's probably a set of investors for any given idea, any given company. They're going to be naturally predisposed to like that idea. And then there's going to be another category of investors that'll be naturally predisposed not to like that idea. And there's probably a narrow sliver of those that are kind of on the fence that you'd want to connect or want to convince one way or another. And it's more about finding those investors that are predisposed to your space, your thesis, et cetera, versus trying to convince people that aren't interested to be interested. So as I've chatted with other founders that have asked me advice before they go about their fundraising, I kind of encourage them to focus on expanding the aperture of their search and their conversations and focus on trying to find those investors that are just naturally predisposed to your space, what you're building from an industry or, even like where you are in your journey. That certainly has kind of resonated. Advice that resonated when I went through the process. And I think is true, even as we think about fundraising in the future.
To date, what do you think's been the most important go-to-market decision that you've made? And talk to us about that decision and how it was made.
Look, I think from the founding of the company, this is much kind of a product and packaging and pricing decision is just providing the service for free. And I think that's what kind of separates us from a lot of the competitors out there. It's much less challenging to stand up an AI resume site and try to drive SEM traffic to that. It's much more challenging to stand up dozens of partnerships with individuals kind of and employers in the job search space, index 5 million jobs, kind of stitch these workflows together from an AI standpoint And so delivering this service totally for free is much harder, but we think also more attractive opportunity in the long term. And so that's probably the most consequential decision we've made from a fork in the road standpoint, as I think back about our last 2 years.
And let's talk a little bit about priorities of what lies ahead. So for the next, let's say 12 months, what are the top priorities that you're going to be trying to tackle?
Yeah. So, I think first off, as a consumer company, right? I've talked about referrals being a key source of our user growth. We want to kind of just extend our awareness in more and more channels. So, looking to kind of drive a little bit more from a SEO standpoint, as well as just kind of build a deeper and broader set of partnerships with kind of influencers in the community that can help build awareness about EarnBetter. So really just kind of getting the word out about our completely free product and help job seekers and kind of diversifying our channels is a really important aspect of what we're doing. I think the next, again, coming back to product is how else can we help job seekers? And so I mentioned a lot of the things we're helping around finding job matches, helping them prepare their applications. But I think there's a lot more we can do, particularly around submitting applications themselves. It's just very tedious. You tend to fill in the same forms again and again. And utilizing AI to help people submit applications more easily is something that really excites us because it's one of the biggest time sucks for job seekers. And we want to kind of help them, again, as our North Star, do as much as they can from an efficiency standpoint of their job search.
And final question for you. Let's zoom out 3 to 5 years into the future and maybe just paint a picture for us of what this is going to look like from the job seeker's perspective. What is that big picture vision? What's that ideal vision for what the experience would look like?
Yeah, I mean, we get excited about supporting job seekers, not just in a one-off episodic job search, but helping them more holistically in their career. And so we're building that trust through helping them with the job search. But then over time, we'd love to help them find ways to advance their career, to monitor for other jobs that might be a good fit. And then we'd also love to, over time, deepen partnerships with employers. It's challenging to innovate on the hiring process, and both employers and job seekers aren't satisfied with the status quo, but it's hard to innovate if you're only focused on one side of the equation. And ultimately, we want to build a marketplace. And so as we continue to build scale on the job seeker side, we'll also look to develop relationships with employers that want to innovate on how to make the hiring process more efficient and better, both for employers and job seekers alike. And, we really hope that as we look out 5-10 years from now, that there's just a higher bar of support for job seekers. There's a strong default to just build for employers in this space because that tends to be where the larger addressable market is. But we want to kind of really cause the industry and help move the industry forward in terms of the baseline level of support that job seekers are provided and how much attention is focused on solving their problems, in this market.
Amazing. Love the vision. I've really loved this conversation. We're up on time, so we're going to have to wrap here. Before we do, if there's any founders that are listening in that want to follow along with your journey, or maybe any job seekers that do want to get in touch, where should they go?
Yeah, just go to earnbetter.com if you'd like, sign up for the service, check it out. If you want to reach out to me directly, just ping me on LinkedIn.
Amazing. Tuck, thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Brett.
This episode of Category Visionaries is brought to you by Frontlines Media, Silicon Valley's leading podcast production studio. If you're a B2B founder looking for help launching and growing your own podcast, visit frontlines.io/podcast. And for the latest episode, search for Category Visionaries on your podcast platform of choice. Thanks for listening, and we'll catch you on the next episode.